Welcome back. This is Nick Agriam. I will be discussing solving quadratic equations by completing the squares. Completing the squares is just a process. It is more algorithm that you need to remember. There is a pattern that you need to do. So I will explain here very slowly in the start, and then I will increase the pace as you learn more. Okay, for example, I will give example directly. It's always like this. I will start with a very easy example. X squared plus 2x minus 5, for example, is equal to 0. This is not a perfect square. My aim is to make a perfect square. So I have x squared plus 2x minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 0 plus 5. I will remove the constant from the left side of the equation, left-hand side of the equation. So I only have x squared plus 2x is equal to 5. Now, the completing the squares comes now. The third term is always half of the second term squared. Okay, I will repeat that third term is always the half of the second term square. Then I will do that to both sides of the equation. If I did it right, then it should look like this. Is equal to 5 plus 1. The left-hand side of the equation now is a perfect square. So I have x plus 1 squared is equal to 6. Extracting both square root of both sides of the equation, then I have x plus 1 is equal to positive negative square root of 6. I should have started with 8. It's alright. And then we have subtracting both sides of the equation. Minus 1 there. This one is 0. X sub 1 is equal to negative 1 plus minus square root of 6. So your x sub 1 is equal to negative 1 plus square root of 6. Your x sub 2 is equal to negative 1 plus square root of 6. Oh, sorry, not plus, it's minus. If you are allowed to use a calculator, then you can write approximately what is that. But this is the exact solution. X sub 1 and x sub 2. Okay, let's try some example. Easy one. We have x squared plus 6x minus should be 13. Oh, let's see, is equal to 0. Okay, and then I don't want the 13 there, so I will add both sides of the equation by 13. Then I have x squared plus 6x, this is 0 now, is equal to 13. The third term is always the half of the second term squared. Then I have to do that also. 2 squared on the left side, on the right hand side of the equation, plus 6x plus 9 is equal to 13 plus 9. If I did it right, then it is a perfect square already. Is equal to what will be 22. Extracting both square root of both sides of the equation, then I have x plus 3 is equal to plus minus square root of 22. subtract 3 to both sides of the equation. Then I have x is equal to negative 3 plus minus square root of 22. So your x sub 1 will be negative 3 plus square root of 22, and your second, or your x sub 2, is negative 3 minus, not plus. Negative 3 minus the square root of 22. Now I will give you another example, which is a little bit more difficult, because we have to have this one, 6x squared minus 5x minus 6. Last time when we did factoring, I have this example, but I'm going to solve this by completing the squares. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you have to make the constant 0. So we add both sides of the equation, x squared by 6. We add the 6 to both sides of the equation, and we have 6 here now. But to perform completing the squares, this 6 need to be 1. So I need to divide all the terms by 6. So I have x squared minus 5/6 x is equal to 1. When I am ready with that, then I have to add the third term. And the third term is always 1/2 of the second term. That's also negative. Then I can put negative also there. It doesn't matter because you need to square anyway. So negative 5/6 divided by 2 squared. When dealing with rational, we have negative 5/6 divided by 2 is the same as multiplied by half. And we have negative 5/12. So x squared minus 5/6 x plus, we have 25 divided by 144. 12 is 144. Is equal to 1 plus 25 divided by 144. If I did it right, then this is a perfect square already. We have 5/12 squared is equal to 144 plus 144 plus 25, because you need to extend this by 144 and 144, and then 169 divided by 144. Extracting the square root of both sides of the equation, then we have x minus 5/12 is equal to positive negative 169, 13, and then 12. We add both sides of the equation, 5/12, both sides of the equation. So our equation, our solution now is x is equal to 5/12, this is 0, plus minus 13/12. And our x sub 1, I will put it here. Our x sub 1 is equal to 5 plus 3 is 18, 12, and that is 1.5. And x sub 2, we have negative 8/12, and that is by 2/3. That is negative 2/3. If you want to write that in rational form, then this is 3/2. More equations to solve. 2x squared minus 11x plus 12 is equal to 0. Remove the 12 from the left hand side by subtracting 12. So we have 2x squared minus 11x is equal to negative 12. The third, we divide both sides of the equation by 2. Then we have x squared minus 11 half x is equal to negative 6. Adding to both sides of the equation is the half of the second term squared. And then we have x squared minus 11 half plus we have negative 11 half multiplied by 1 half because it is a division. And that's the way you learned from dividing fractions. Then we have negative 11 fourth divided by 4. So we have 121 16 is equal to negative 6 plus 121 16th. If we expand this by 16, and if I did it right, then this would be a perfect square now, plus 11 fourth squared is equal to 16 times 6, 96. Negative 96 plus 121 16. What will be 121 minus 96? It's 25. So we have x plus 11 fourth squared is equal to 25 16. Extracting square to both sides of the equation, then we have x plus 11 fourth is equal to plus minus 5 fourth. If we add both sides of the equation or subtract both sides of the equation by 11 fourth, negative 11 fourth, this is here now, and we have x is equal to negative 11 plus minus 5 divided by 4. So our x sub 1, 6 divided by 4, that is 1.5 again, 1.5. And our x sub 2 is 16 divided by 4, negative 16, that is negative 4. Oh, that's it. So I hope that you learned something in this video lecture about solving quadratic equations by completing the square. Completing the square, not completing the squares. In my next video, then I will be using this idea in a general form to derive the quadratic formula, because all quadratic equation can be solved by using a quadratic formula. So if you don't want to do anything of this, if your teacher doesn't require you to do it, as long as your teacher said that solve the quadratic equation, then you have to choose what do you want. And as I said now, the easiest, or not the easiest, the most flexible is the quadratic equation. See you then.